some business to take care of. For those of you that don't know me, I am the Pearland Area Republican Club president. Welcome all our guests this evening. Thank you members that are here as well, and just glad to have you here to participate. Okay, first off, we're going to have the invocation done by our drainage district. We've got drainage in the house tonight for Pearland. So Jeff Brennan's going to come up here and he is going to do the invocation. Oh, please.
She's not here when I just came here for work. Pray with me, if you will. Please rise and pray with me, if you will. Our Father and God, we ask you to come before this group that we have here this evening at the Pearland Area Republican Club. Guide them and bless them in the work that we're here to do. We're here today to listen to the candidates that will be serving our community. We ask you to bless them in their work that they're doing, in their campaigns. We ask them, those who get elected, that they lead our community into betterment of our community. We ask you to guide this group here this evening on their way home safely and guide us in our everyday work that we're doing. In Jesus' name, we ask for your blessing upon this group. Amen.
Amen. Love it. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, where's Adrian? There he is. Adrian will be leading us in the pledges. We got the U.S. flag and the Texas flag.
All right, please join me in a pledge to the United States flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now to our state flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Now someone has to say play ball.
Well, sort of, right? Okay, just a few announcements. I say that. So, for those of you who don't know, if you've seen any of the emails go out, we have a new logo, yay. And so I'm just letting people know that haven't been here in a while so that you know what's happening. Also, we've incorporated and we asked who has a birthday in April. Please raise your hand. Ooh, well, let's say happy birthday from Pearland Area Republican Club to all those that have a birthday this month. Thank you. Next up is we started what we call a coffee clutch, and that happens Thursday, May 7th. That's the first first Thursday in May, and that will be happening on May 7th, and we meet at Kelly's at 10 a.m., and it's good conversation, breakfast, get to know the community. We have city council people, just assortment of people come by. We have constables that are running, and so we have more people, and we just love it to start to get to know people a little bit better. So have conversation that's more relaxed. So we welcome you to do that. If you'd like to join PARC, you can go back in the back over there and talk to Selena this evening. She's back there poising like Vanna. And joining and renewing can take place before you leave this evening if you haven't already renewed. $25, not bad. Okay. Also, if you have any program suggestions for the future, please see Millie. Millie, where are you? Millie's waving back there with the hot pink going on. And then we also have Richard, who's over there looking at stuff over there. Wave, Richard. Okay, Richard, okay. He's like, what are you talking about? So yeah, if you have any ideas or suggestions for upcoming speakers or organizations, please let us know. All right. And next meeting for PARC is going to be Thursday, May 14th. We always meet the second Thursday of the month. And May is our salute to the military. And with it being Military Month, we have a special organization. You can snap a picture of it before you leave. Everyone is invited. It's Vow 22, which is a nonprofit organization that's here in Pearland. So we hope that you will attend and support our military. All righty. Now we have upcoming general election and special elections coming up and school board elections. Is this coming in okay? It's a little breathy. Ken, where are you? Is it okay or it sounds a little breathy? It's not bad? Is it me? Okay. Just double checking. Don't blame me. All right, so upcoming general and special elections, school board elections, Saturday, May 2nd, Pearland Mayoral and city council candidates from Pearland. We have 2 resolutions for civil service and charter amendments, which we'll be discussing shortly. We have Manville City Council candidates, place 5 that will be speaking this evening, and Alvin and Pearland School Board candidates for the Board of Trustees as well. All right, election dates. Thursday, April 2nd was the last day, boo-hoo, to register to vote. Monday, April 20th is the first day for early voting for everyone, and Tuesday, April 28th is the last day for early voting. So the general election or the special and or general election is May 2nd. I actually have some sheets up there too if you need to have more information about that too. All right, we have the upcoming primary runoff, Tuesday, May 28th. Election date, Monday, April 27th is the last day to register to vote. So Monday, May 18th, first day for early voting. Friday, May 22nd is the last day for early voting. And Tuesday, May 26th, the primary runoff will take place. And this is right after Memorial Day. So keep that in mind. If you're going to go on vacation, you're going to be out of town, get in early and vote. All right. Before we begin, Councilman Joe Koza is going to explain to you 2 resolutions that are going to be on the ballot. There's a civil service and a charter amendment resolution. So let's invite him up here to explain that to us.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Koza, and I am a city council member here in Pearland, Texas. I was asked this evening to speak briefly on the 2 propositions we have coming up this election. Proposition A is in regards to our charter, the city's charter. Basically, every 6 years, we're required to do a charter review. The city council has 7 members that we each will come in, or we used to each select. Now it's done by committee, where we have 7 members of the community to review the charter. And the charter's gone through, looked at, and anything that needs to be updated or revised, they go through that process, come back to city council with their proposal to any changes that we need to do. This year, they came back with a pretty minor one, and basically the language is a little funky when you read it, but at the end of the day, back when this was made, it was notices are in the newspaper. As we progress, newspapers are getting further and further less read and circulated, and now it reads, will the state is asking us to come in and say, we want to start moving towards electronic notification. So our charter is going to be changed, if it's voted for, to read whatever the state law is. So no matter how fast technology changes or moving into the future, whatever the state requirement is, if it is passed, it will become that to change. Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. Thank you. And so from there, what we will do is, if it's voted in, any time in the future when technology changes, the notifications will change from paper to electronic notification, and then from anything that happens in the future. So it's pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy, nothing too controversial. It's just changing it to where it will follow state law. So that's Proposition A. Proposition B is a civil service request by the citizen or the City Pearland Fire Department. And currently the police department, I think it was 82, 83, became civil servants at that time. And the way the process works, it's local code 143, local government code 143, that allows the police or fire, that's the only 2 departments within the city, that become civil servants if they first get a petition and they get enough signatures to be able to get it on the ballot. Once that happens, then it goes to the voters to be approved or denied. If it is approved, then it comes to the city council to ratify it. From there, it becomes a next step where we have a commission that's put together, which the city of Pearland already has a commission because the Pearland Police Department are civil servants. So we've already got the commission in place to be able to handle the fire department becomes civil servants from the vote. So with that being said, what civil service does primarily is it's a very rigid, very controlled process from how you get hired to how you promote or get promoted through the system all the way to the top. So if civil service is adopted, basically you have an entrance level position that you're allowed to be hired. Through the promotion process, that is all handled through the laws of the civil service. So you can't come in and say, hey, I go from the basic entrance level to 2 levels up. You've got to test, you've got to go through the process to be able to promote up. With that being said, it also gives the civil servants protection from political aspirations, from people being able to fire police or fire department individuals. So it protects them in the ranks to be able to move through the system. It does not set their pay. Their pay is set through the budgetary process and approved or ratified through council. So what happens is if let's say they don't have a raise for a certain time period and all of a sudden it gets where it's out of whack with other departments, then the council can come in and say, okay, this budget cycle, we need to bump it up, or we need to look at this study and that type of stuff. So through that process, that's how pay raises. It's not where the raises all of a sudden get out of control, because it is very controlled. The way promotions are handled, you have to do your continuing education, you have to test for the promotion, and you cannot just be promoted because the police chief or the fire chief likes you over the next person. It's based on scores. So the person that gets the best score, they move up through the system, and if you have 3 people and one's higher, good, bad, or indifferent, they're promoted up. So that's how it works through that. One thing that it allows the citizens, civil servants cannot go on strike. So your civil servants are there to protect the community. So it is protected in the fact that you can't fire them just because they showed up late one day. Because being in the state of Texas, we are at will state, and any other type of employment, you can be fired for whatever reason. Boss could just be having a bad day that day and didn't like the way you talked to the fireman. In civil service, it is a process. There is also, if someone has a demotion or any issues with employment, they also have a way to come back to the commission to be able to have their grievance heard and be able to have a decision made through the commission. That is separate from city council. We have 3 members and one of the department people so that they can go through the whole process on the commission. So that's basically how the process works. Like I said, it's a very rigid process, but it does help control the costs, and it does help where the promotions and how you move through, because the only positions you can hire is your entrance level and your chief. And then the chief has the ability to hire 2 people past that. Everybody else in the civil service ranks, they move up through that process. So that's basically in a nutshell. I will turn it back over to Jeanette, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to do a few other introductions. These are people that are running unopposed. Tommy Eccles, where are you, sir? Come on, Tommy, come up for a second. You got 1 minute or less.
Well, wow, in 1 minute. No pressure. I am Tommy Eccles. I saw on the Facebook page, who is Tommy Eccles? I wrote, I am Tommy Eccles. My number is 713-907-1612. Call me. I would love to introduce myself to you. That's how I am. I give out my personal number, my address, because I am here to serve. have a lifetime of service. A lifetime. I began being a minister when I was 18 years old, and I have served people through ministry. I've served people through the police department as a chaplain. One of my first calls as a chaplain was to deal with a policeman that had to take another life to protect his own and to protect me more. That's not the easy job. I'm here to help. I'm here to make the not easy job one that I will do. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Tommy Eccles will be sitting in position 2. And Rushi Patel, he is position 7, but he is out of the country. He had a relative, close relative that passed away recently, so he's not able to attend with us this evening. And of course, you'll be hearing from the incumbent, Mona Chevaria, and you'll be hearing from Tashala McLean this evening. And also, okay, we have, for the Manville race, we have Mayor Dan Davis, who's running unopposed, and Harry Oppliger for place 3 is running unopposed, could not be here this evening. And then we will be hearing from place 5 candidates, Jason Albert and Justin, we call him JT, Thompson. And so this is the first time the Pearland Area Republican Club has invited Manville. We had a request. This is the first time that they are involved in our forum. So we're very pleased to be able to offer that to our citizens. And so we thank you. Now, to begin, candidates have already had our little roundup session, so they know what's coming. Candidates will be faced with selected questions from our battery of questions received from our PARC community. We will have 3 questions answered this evening by school board trustee candidates and city council candidates, and 4 questions will be delivered to the mayoral candidates this evening. Candidates will come up on stage in alphabetical order. So right now we are going to call up on stage position 1 for Pearland Independent School District trustee candidates. So if you'll please come up on stage. This is probably best to go this way. Now, Ross is our treasurer, but he's an excellent timekeeper, and he is going to be assisting us this evening with timekeeping. In addition to that, he is going to be reading some information to us to present the understanding to everyone about what the office is that they're applying for or reapplying for. So let's give it over to Ross so that he can explain this.
Thank you, Jonette. The Pearland Independent School District serves more than 20,000 students. The school district has 7 members on its board of trustees. Each member serves a 3-year term and is elected at large. The board adopts policies, employs the superintendent, and oversees the operations of the district and its schools. The board is responsible for setting the property tax rate, setting salary schedules, serving as a board of appeals in personnel and student matters, and adopting and amending the annual budget.
Okay, we're going to start with Mr. Bradley. I need a bigger lecture. Oh, yeah. Do it right now. Yeah. So, Mr. Bradley, Dr. Bradley. He's ringing a cowbell, okay. Dr. Bradley, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself first. You've got a minute. Go.
Great, thanks. Good evening, Pearland Area Republican Club. I'm Dr. Rich Bradley, and I'm running for, am I on? Do you want me to talk loudly?
Wait a minute. We can't hear you back here.
Standing by.
Stand by.
Question?
It is an on switch.
Good evening, Pearland Area Republican Club. I am Dr. Rich Bradley, and I'm running for Pearland ISD trustee position number 1. My life's work has been service. I taught emergency medicine at McGovern Medical School in Houston for 24 years. And I now serve with the Texas Division of Emergency Management, and I have 30 years with the Air National Guard. That's been a fun time. That's included 4 combat deployments. Here at home, I'm active in the community. I'm the immediate past president of the Pearland Volunteer Fire Department. And I've served for 4 years with the Pearland ISD's district-wide Educational Improvement Committee. My wife and I have raised 2 kids, and they've gone through the Pearland ISD school district, and they're graduates. I've got 3 priorities for this position. First of all, academics. Second, stewardship. Third, safety. Pearland ISD can be a model for Texas. Strong academics, safe campuses, and honest stewardship. I'd be grateful for your vote. Dr. Rich Bradley, Pearland ISD.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bradley. We appreciate you. All right, and now for Ms. Carter.
Hi, and thanks to PARC for inviting us all here. I'm Tony Carter. I've been on the Board of Trustees in position 1 for 6 years.
You may need to hold it closer.
Prior to my board experience, I was a stay-at-home mom and volunteering in the schools for about 15 years in the libraries, in the PTA, and in other capacities. I've been married for 31 years. And my experience watching their children and their friends grow into incredible adults was my main motivation to run for school board. Being part of their education through volunteering and support made me realize this district is really special. It's far and above surrounding districts. I went to Catholic school my whole life, and I thought I would send my own children to Catholic school. But we thought back in 2005, let's give it a shot. It's got a great reputation. And what I've seen from my children is that Pearland ISD and public education is the way to go. So I look forward to serving this district for another term, and I welcome you.
Thank you very much. And now, Chris Counts. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. This is my second round in Pearland. Originally, my son was in a different school district, and he was struggling between academics, and since my son is special needs, and they did not understand and encourage their children to be kind, my son was terrorized, and he was severely bullied, and I came back to Pearland as soon as I could. My son has done a full 180, and he's on the honor roll. So it's been a great privilege to be in Pearland. I became a foster mother. I've had 5 children from foster care come through Pearland ISD, and every single teacher has done a miraculous job with my foster children. And I just want to be able to support and help the community build with the Pearland ISD, and definitely support the teachers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very good. All right. So question number 1 will be for Dr. Bradley. Question number 1. Over half of Texas public schools have authorized at least one of 3 armed teacher programs. What is your position on these programs? And would you consider implementing one of these in our school district?
Thanks for the question. My North Star is clear. We've got to keep our kids safe. And we know that if you look back over the past 10 years, the average nationwide, there's 35 to 40 school shootings per year in this country. If you look at those school shootings, there has never been a school shooting in a school that has armed teachers. Now, the lack of that doesn't prove that they prevent anything, but that's pretty strong evidence to support it. Now, the question can't be answered simply, because obviously putting weapons in schools brings in risks as well as safety. It's easy to look into the literature and find cases where weapons have been lost, where weapons have misfired in class. So there are risks. So this isn't a simple, yes, let's do it. This is a very careful, let's look at the law, let's look at the proposed policies, and then when a decision is made to do this, and if it's made to do this, that we go through and say, we're going to implement this very carefully. It wouldn't be, yeehaw, take your weapon, go to class, and wear it on your hip, and we'll be Wild West. It's going to be, if we do this, and if it's approved, it would be, how are teachers who are carrying a weapon going to be qualified? how are teachers carrying a weapon going to develop processes and procedures to make sure that the weapons are safe, to make sure that the weapons are not accessible to students in class. The bottom line, and I can say this from my career background, decades as an emergency physician and an emergency responder, is we do what we need to do, what we can do to make our schools safer. If we believe that this makes our schools safer, if the safeguards can be met, then yes, I support it. Our kids deserve nothing less.
Thank you so much. And now, Tony Carter, if you'll speak to the same question. Question number 1.
Yes, I understand why some districts have turned on teacher programs. They're trying to respond to very real concerns about school safety. I'm a parent. I have those concerns. I don't support placing firearms in the hands of untrained or minimally trained school staff, so obviously it would have to be a very strict trained situation. Introducing weapons into classrooms raises significant risks: accidental discharge, escalation in tense situations, liability concerns. My priority is to ensure that we do this through measures that are proven and appropriate in an educational environment. And so we have already invested in highly trained law enforcement and security officers at every school. There is someone armed at every school. So I'm all for strengthening our security infrastructure, but also expanding mental health support. At this point, I don't think that we would need to.
Ms. Kemps?
Yes, I'm actually in support for this as well. I believe that Pearland IAC, like she said, already has the school resource officers. Pearland has security cameras covering the exits, cafeterias, and the common areas. I would support teachers having a gun if they pass all the required training and psychological exams. I support this because too many teachers have been the last line of defense in these school shootings, and they have lost their lives protecting our children. I believe that if they do have a weapon, they will go through extensive training, and their mental health will be continuously checked on, and their weapons will be locked in a safe out of view from the children, including the safe, not just the weapon itself, because that is the ultimate last resort, and that is going to be part of their extensive training. I have been raised around guns my entire life. I have served in the military as well. I was Master at Arms, which is the same thing as military police. My son, I have guns. My son doesn't get near them, okay? You can train students not to, and you can train an adult how to properly utilize a weapon at all given times and under any kind of stressful situation. We need to make sure that our students are protected at all costs and not let fear get in the way of making sure our students are properly taken care of.
Thank you so much. Now on to question number 2. We will start with you, Ms. Counts.
Okay.
Do you support a no zeros grading policy where the lowest grade a student can receive is 50%, even for assignments not turned in?
No, ma'am. I even expect this of my son as well, and it's been very thoroughly explained to his teachers. I do not support a no zeros grade policy where the lowest grade for a student can receive is a 50, even when assignments are not turned in. If a student does not complete or submit an assignment, they do not demonstrate mastery of the material and should not receive credit for work that was never done. Accountability is an important part of education. Students must understand that effort and responsibility matter. When we automatically award a minimum grade regardless of whether work is completed, we risk sending the message that deadlines and effort are optional. That said, if a student is struggling, our responsibility as educators and leaders is to provide support. Schools should have action plans in place to help students get back on track and succeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now on to Dr. Bradley.
Thanks. So I'm curious where that idea comes from. I think that the question would probably be, do we want in some way to protect our students from feeling bad if for whatever reason they don't get the work done? Now, I know that there's lots of reasons why students may not turn an assignment in. Maybe that there's some problems at home. Maybe they're having some family issues, or maybe they just haven't learned how to meet deadlines. I had kids. They had trouble meeting deadlines sometimes. Sometimes they still do. But the question is the idea of saying, well, we're going to make sure that you get at least a 50 no matter what, does that help them? And the question is, why are we here? We're here to get our children ready to be adults. Some of our kids are going to go to college. What colleges are going to give 50% for not turning an assignment in? Some of them are going to go into the working world. What jobs were you given an assignment? We'll say, well, we'll still give you half credit even if you didn't do any work today. And so we're doing our kids a disservice if we adopt policies like that. Now, I understand we don't want our kids to feel bad. Sometimes failing, as much as we don't want it to happen, is the best way to learn a lesson. I bet a lot of you have been parents. One of the things that was hardest for me as a parent was to realize that my kids learned some of their hardest lessons, but best lessons, when they failed at something. Now, we're there to support them, and we're there to take care of them, and we're there to make sure that they don't spiral down the drain when something goes wrong. But no, I do not support a concept of always giving 50% no matter what, because we're doing our kids a disservice. Thanks.
Thank you so much, and Tony Carter?
I agree with Dr. Bradley in that I am curious as to where this idea came from, because I would like to assure everyone here that Pearland ISD does not have such a policy. Our current policy is that if a student were to make a failing grade or receive a 0 on an assignment that was not turned in, they have the opportunity to go back and redo that assignment for the maximum grade of a 70. So it's really in place to prevent one bad day or one struggling week from tanking a student's entire GPA. So I absolutely would not support a 50% no matter what. That's silly. But I want to assure everyone again, this is not something that Pearland ISD is doing.
Thank you very much. And now on to question number 3. What ideas do you have to continue to improve academic outcomes within our schools without increasing the tax burden on our citizens? And let's begin with Tony.
Okay, well, first of all, we are always, I say we because I'm currently sitting on the board, but I am not speaking for Pearland ISD, but I have witnessed Pearland consistently looking for new options. And another assurance for all of you, Pearland ISD is at the max tax rate that we can charge. We can never raise it unless something changes in the legislature. So at this point, our budgets are going to, your taxes may go up because your property values go up, but Pearland ISD has no control over that. And we are facing declining enrollment, so we will have these challenges in the future. We have a very innovative superintendent who is constantly looking at these issues. And he set goals for himself for every year, for higher targets every year. A lot of times if we're looking at a new program, it's going to replace an old program. So it may not be an increase in cost. So we can replace a less successful program with a better program and not have to be as concerned about the budget. Our current superintendent has also done a really great job of honing the administration, and I always have my eye on the fact that we don't become too top-heavy. And I think in competition with other districts, we are doing very well in that capacity. So those are the ways that we're actively looking on a daily basis at how to continue to improve our outcomes without having an increased budget.
All right, Ms. Cox.
I think when it comes to helping without our students without increasing the tax, there are several things that we can do. A lot of children learn different ways, and I think we really need to be pushing those different standards. A lot of children like hands-on, and I think the more the fun activities, students learn better. Personally, I would like to think that, especially blue-collar workers or white-collar workers, it doesn't matter, they can come in and let the children experience, not just once a year when they do career day, but more often they can see what kind of careers that they have day to day, and start them off early in elementary, or have educational field trips, and also work with, get different grants and different fundraising foundations to help out, and to be able to encourage children to be able to go to do different activities, and also be able to, on the programs that are not being successful, evaluate as to why they're not, and really do a deep dive into that and see if we can't bring it up, or if it does need to be replaced with something else. Thank you.
Doctor?
So I've had an amazing experience for the past 4 years as a member of the District-wide Educational Improvement Committee. This committee is a brilliant idea. It brings together people from across the spectrum. There's a number of teachers on it, administrators, parent representatives, and community representatives, where I am right now. And we look at all the issues in the district. We go through a process of weighing them, deciding which ones are the most important, and which ones are the most right for change. I'll tell you, we're doing this process right now. One of the areas that I'm working on with a team of other experts, educators and administrators and parents, is looking at some of the performances that we're seeing in end-of-course testing. Pearland ISD does really well in end-of-course testing across the board. Every grade, every subject, just about, with a couple exceptions. We are scoring better than the city, and we are scoring better than the region, except in a few categories. We have to provide services to emerging bilingual English learners. They have lower test scores, end-of-course scores. We have lower end-of-course scores in some of our special education population, and we have lower test scores in our financially challenged population, economically disadvantaged population. So we're now looking at how can we improve the test scores in those groups. So bringing test scores up, this is one of our goals, and we're looking at it by going through with a team, identifying problems and fixing them. And that's what I think we should do, is to prove this. But also, when we look at outcomes, we've got to make sure we're looking at the right outcomes. It's not just end-of-course test scores. How well are our students, when they graduate, ready to go off into the real world and do real things? Not just college, but also if they go into career, are they career ready? So we can do that collaboratively and using a team process. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So how about giving them a round of applause? Great job, everyone. So you can go ahead and go breathe, take a break. And Richard's going to be coming up shortly, but I'll go ahead and first call up the people here, and then Ross is going to give another explanation. So Zanya Salazar and Dr. Scheffler, where are you? You come on up. You can be first one. All right, and yeah, that's fine. That way you have your mic set right there. So again, they're going to be speaking in 2 minutes for each answer, for every question. And again, this is for position 2 for Pearland Independent School District trustee candidates. And so for this time, I get to take a little break, and Richard's going to take it.
Thank you, Jonette. Okay. Well, we'll start with opening statements. So, Ms. Salazar, if you want to start, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Azami Salazar, and I am your candidate for Pearland ISD School Board Position 2. I am a mother of 3 and an educator here within Pearland ISD, and the main reason I am here is to serve, to make a commitment, to see my children thrive, to see my district thrive, to see my fellow coworkers thrive. I see firsthand every single day where the challenges can be met and where we can improve here in our district. And I know Pearland ISD, already a great district, can have the capability to get there and to maintain the struggles that teachers are seeing every day in the classrooms, the students, and me as an employee. There is so much growth that we can have in our district, and I am here to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Sheffler.
Howdy. Ooh, I love it. So I'm Dr. Chris Shuffler. I apologize, I'm here in my work clothes. I rushed over here straight from work thinking I wasn't going to get here in time. I have been your trustee since that crazy election of 2020, so I've been there for the past 6 years in position number 2. I'm a local Pearland graduate from Pearland High School class of 1999. I'm a product of public education. I'm living on the property that I grew up on. I bought it from my parents and built a house in the backyard like I promised my mommy I would do when I was a little kid. So I've been here a while. I'm a veterinarian, so I understand higher education, I understand the workforce, I own my own business, I understand what it means to pay taxes, I own my own property, I understand what it means to pay taxes. And on top of that, I think the most important thing I'd like to say is I'm a father. I have 6 children on 5 campuses in 4 different grade bands in Pearland ISD. No one has a broader view of the school district than I do. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sheffler. All right, we'll start. We'll have 3 questions, and we're going to change up the order in which you answer. And we'll start with the first question. It says, in the school year ending on June 30th, 2025, about 56% of the general fund expenditures were spent on direct instruction. The amount reported was almost $118 million. Do you think this is about the right percentage, too little, or too much? And we'll start with Ms. Salazar first.
All right, so in my estimation, I think that is pretty spot on. I did a little research, and nationally school districts are around the 54 percentage. So I think if anything, us being at 56% shows that we are probably going above and beyond than the national average in our district and really dedicating, prioritizing our funds into our classrooms. Those funds go towards things that the state mandates, like transportation, nutrition, sped services, and just day-to-day operational costs that keeps all of our facilities, ESC and everything running. And these things aren't optional, and I feel like as a parent, these are things our community and a parent would expect of our schools. Pearland ISD is known for being great, and I feel like our community expects greatness from that. So I think we are pretty effective at using those dollars as well. We are doing a strong job and reflecting those outcomes. Our graduation rate is about 98% to 99%. So I don't think it's too much or too little. I see it as a responsible balance. I know when you hear $118 million, you're like, oh my goodness, that's a lot. But I do think that it's a pretty responsible and balanced budget to ensure our student success.
Thank you. Dr. Sheffler?
Okay, so first question, right out of the gate. School finances, what a surprise. I've done this for 6 years. I still don't understand them. I think I could get Larry Berger, Dr. Larry Berger, and the accounting department up here, and they would not be able to explain it to you. The way schools are funded, the way the money gets, allocated to us, the way it goes out, the formulas, it is extremely challenging, and I'm still learning things every time that the conversation comes up. Where that number is pulled from is this report. This is our popular annual financial report. This is available to any of you that want it. It is available on our website. It is in our board packets. So if you're interested in looking at it, that number comes straight out of the fiscal year 2025 budget, which lists $117,607,986 exactly went to instruction. The truth is, we have a $230 million operations budget. $118 million is only a fraction of that, as was pointed out in the question. Every dollar that we take in is allocated towards educating students. It'd be like me saying, was it enough just to build this room to have this meeting? It's not. You have to have electricity, you have to have plumbing, you have to have HVAC, you have to have fire extinguishers, you have to have people staffing it. So I guess the question, whenever I read it, it felt like, well, there's only this percentage being spent directly on instruction. Is there waste elsewhere? Because I, like you, pay taxes that go to fund these schools. I want to make sure it's efficient. You have to take my word for it. We are doing, I'm a volunteer, we don't get paid to do this. We actually spend money to do this, which is crazy. But we are up there to represent you and make sure that all of those dollars count, not just the ones that on some report somewhere say they're going to instruction. How are you going to execute instruction if you don't have instructional leadership, if you don't do curriculum and staff development? Every one of these dollars goes towards the children, to educating them. And that's our job up here, is to make sure that you get a good deal.
Okay, moving on to question number 2. Do you think there's any fraud, waste, or abuse in PISD? If so, what measure would you take to eliminate it? By eliminating the fraud, waste, or abuse, more money would be available. Would you return that money to the taxpayers, or would you transfer it to another department or program within the school district? And Dr. Scheffler, we'll start with you first.
Okay, so again, school finance is coming back. Fraud, waste, and abuse, of course, happens. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that it doesn't. Is it to the scale that is something we have to do? We need to form Doge for Pearland IC? I don't think so. I haven't seen any evidence of that. I know I've, again, done this for 6 years, and nobody's offered me a kickback. Nobody's offered me, any incentive for a contract or anything like that. I think that you could ask anyone on the school board, it'd be the same story. There are wastes. We have 3,000 employees. I can't keep the 20 to 25 that I have at my clinic on task even for one day. How do you do that with 3,000 employees? You have a couple of fiscal hawks on the board, okay? I'm a businessman. I am used to looking at a profit and loss statement. I am used to looking at a balance sheet. I understand cash flow. I understand ins and outs. I understand living within your means and spending what you have and trying not to exceed that, and maybe even saving something for a rainy day. When we look at these things, we get contracts, anything that, even if we've budgeted it, if it's over $50,000, $100,000, those things come in front of us at every school board meeting. We get a report on where the money was spent. And we just, at this last school board meeting, Sean Murphy's another trustee, he's a banker, and he pays attention to these contracts that come up. And we had a pretty lively discussion about, what are we paying for energy rates? Is there any way we could save money? Again, we pay the same taxes. You can't run for school board and not live in the district that you represent. Those taxes affect me not only as a homeowner, but also as a businessman, both my property as well as my business personal property, my inventory. All of these things get taxed over and over again. And so it's in my best interest to serve your best interests by trying to keep those taxes as low as possible, eliminate waste, and streamline the district as best as we can.
Thank you. Ms. Salazar?
I'm going to keep it short and sweet because I'm going to piggyback off what Chris said. I don't think that there's any waste in our district. Of course, for any large organization, there is the potential, yes. But I feel like our superintendent and our school board does a really great operational of being transparent with their budget. Like Chris said, the budget is always available. You go on PearlandISD.org, there's the budget. You listen to a school board meeting, they are not hiding these numbers. So, just so happen, if there is extra funds there, because I'm going to answer the question, I wouldn't return the funds back to our taxpayers. I would return the funds and keep them in the district. So I would put it back into classroom management, teacher support, SPED services, mental health services for our students, and academic interventions. That's the one-on-ones with students in small groups and funding all of those things like that. Our community really, really prides itself and it's passionate about education, so I expect that what our community would want those dollars to be is to stay in the classroom and directly benefit our students, and I think our community would be proud and satisfied with that.
Thank you. Okay, question 3. Texas school districts rely heavily on local property taxes. But districts like PISD do not keep all the revenue they collect because of the state recapture system. Can you explain how recapture works and what it means for local taxpayers and students in Pearland? And Ms. Salazar, we'll start with you first.
So when I read this question, Pearland ISD is not a recapture district. So we are not sending our local dollars back to the state. And right now it's currently a 60-40 split between the state and local funding, but I'll go ahead and explain how recapture works to complete the question. So recapture is the state's way of redistributing funding. So for those school districts that have an excess of wealth of money per student, and the state allows them to have, then that money gets sent back to the state and then go ahead and gets redispersed along Texas. But for us, even though it doesn't apply to us currently, formulas can always change, state funding can always change. So just because it's not our current situation right now, that's still something important to understand. So property values can always shift and change that for us. So it definitely should, we definitely should understand how it works because it will impact how we plan for the future of our district.
Dr. Shepard?
It's only part of the story too. So yes, there's this Robin Hood program where rich districts that don't have enough children to need the money that they can raise do subsidize other districts. Like think about Hearn, Texas, with no industry. Businesses pay way more property tax than homeowners do. That's one of the reasons why we want businesses to come into Pearland, is because when you have $1 million of inventory on a shelf and a massive warehouse that's getting property tax, all that money comes into your local government. It subsidizes the people with bedrooms and houses and rooftops. It pays for their infrastructure. Businesses shoulder that load. They don't get homestead exemptions. And for the local school district, our money, our tier 1 funding comes to us from the state of Texas. In fact, pretty much all of it does. We send all the money to the state, and the state says, hey, you know what, this year we're gonna give you this many dollars, and it's based on not only the number of kids that are enrolled, we have to house every kid that's enrolled at any point. They come up to us and say, we'd like to enter Pearland ISD. We have to have a space and a teacher for them. So we take all these people on. On top of that, it's only by attendance. So if we get a flu outbreak and attendance goes down, there went a few $1 million of our budget. Or what just happened to us, TEA reconstituted their funding equation. We just lost $8 million, just like that, because they changed the way that they calculate it. The only funding that really comes directly from local and goes straight into the school district is what we call tier 2. If you remember our Vaders, when we talked about golden pennies, copper pennies, up to 17 cents that the school board can try and pass, local voters have to approve it. If they don't approve it, it doesn't go through. We've already maxed that out. We're getting all of our golden pennies, all of our copper pennies. That is enrichment funding given by the local community to help fund schools. Everything else is a function of what the state government gives to us, and we are at their mercy. We don't have any say over it, nor do we have any say over your property values, which I'm sorry.
Thank you both very much. We appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to have Alvin Independent School District come up to the front. It will be Ms. Burley and Mr. Hinojosa. And Ross is going to explain things as soon as you all get comfortably seated. I did see it go that way. Get adjusted and have a seat. We have brownies back there, we have cookies, we've got coffee, we've got water, we've got tea. Help yourself. Okay, now Ross is going to explain.
All right, the Alvin Independent School District serves more than 30,000 students and is the largest in Brazoria County. Each one of the 7-member Board of Trustees serves a 3-year term and is elected at large.
All right, thank you so much.
We'll start with opening statements first. We'll just go alphabetically, so we're not playing any favoritism here. But we'll start with Mr. Burley. Yeah, Miss Burley. I'm sorry, Miss Burley. Sorry.
That's quite all right. I get that all the time.
Yeah.
My name is Faynetta Fayborough, and I am your candidate for Alvin ISD School Board position number 6. I taught in Alvin ISD at Manville High School. I have a daughter that graduated from Shadow Creek High School and a stepdaughter that graduated from Manville High School. I am bringing over 23 years of experience to this position. I've worked in the juvenile justice system as a lead probation officer and as a clinical therapist. Well, I have transferred kids from one system back into our educational system. I am also a parent of a 504 student. I fought tirelessly for my daughter to make sure that she had every IEP that she needed. And I will continue to fight for every student in Alvin ISD, IEPs, or any program. I will fight for your child. I'm a business owner. I am very big on fiscal responsibility, budgeting, and policies and procedure. I will be a voice for your students, a partner for your parents, and an advocate for all of your teachers. My name is Faynetta Fayborough. I am your candidate for Alvin ISD School Board position number 6.
Burley. I'm sorry.
No worries. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Fernando Hinojosa. I'm running for Alvin ISD position 6. I'm an engineer by training. I'm an educator, former educator at Alvin ISD. I taught at Alvin High School, Shadow Creek High School, and Rodeo Palms Junior High. I've been in Alvin my entire life. I graduated from Alvin High School in 2009, and I'm also a firefighter for the city of Alvin. For me, this position is really personal as having children currently in the district. My oldest one is a first grader, and I believe in 2 things. First off, I believe that every student that graduates from Alvin ISD needs to be future ready. In a time when the world is constantly changing, not every kid is going to be college bound, so we have to make sure that all students are future ready. And the second is making sure that we are doing everything we can to get Alvin ISD to be the best district possible, and that's what I look to do as your candidate for Alvin ISD position 6. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll start with 3 questions. We're going to start with question number 1. Under Texas Senate Bill 11 from the 2025 regular legislation session, public school districts are required to vote on adopting policies that allow for volunteer, daily prayer, and Bible reading. Will you commit to support Senate Bill 11, prayer in these school districts? And we'll start with Ms. Salazar. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Ms. Burl.
I'm Ms. Burl. So as a trustee, my primary commitment was to be to make sure that we upholding the law while we are ensuring a safe environment for all of our kids. So when it comes to Senate Bill 11, that bill was actually introduced by a Texas senator. And I do support prayer in school. I believe that people take their faith very seriously, and they should have the individual opportunity to read text, to have forms, to read it on their Bible. We should not take that away from them as long as they're not imposing their values on anyone else. I believe faith is deeply personal to people. And I just want to make sure that we have a policy that's very inclusive and that we are not infringing any of our beliefs on anyone else. My main thing is to make sure that our students are always safe and that they can have individualized freedom in their school system so that they know when they go into the adult world that they are free to be who they are. And Alvin ISD does a really good job with accepting all of our kids, and I think we should be able to continue to do that. So I believe that different beliefs, we can do that. And we should continue to focus on a district where every student feels safe, where every student feel like they belong and it doesn't interfere with student outcomes, and that we continue to produce great students in Alvin ISD.
Thank you. Mr. Hinojosa?
Thank you very much. Senate Bill 11. So, like it was mentioned and how it was introduced, I want to give you a little bit of a backstory with how that's affected Alvin ISD. So back in February of this year, Alvin ISD actually voted on Senate Bill 11. School districts were required to vote on this by March. So Alvin ISD voted in February, and they voted unanimously 7-0 to reject that policy. Now, I wanted to be straightforward with that before I gave you any more context about where my stance is on that. So first, the most important thing that we need to understand with Senate Bill 11 is that students in Alvin ISD can still pray. What Senate Bill 11 actually did is it gave districts the option to create a formal district-sanctioned framework for volunteer prayer and Bible reading. But that framework does not remove any student's constitutional right to pray, individually or in voluntary groups. So the big word here is voluntary, that we do not take away the voluntary opportunities that students have to express their religion, whether individually or in groups. So as a trustee, what I would ensure is that we continue, that we do not create any policies that infringe on any single person's constitutional right to pray in the schools. They have that, they have had that. The fact that the school board voted to not implement the policy does not impact that whatsoever. So it's my role as a trustee that we make sure that we keep those constitutional rights in place for all of our students, regardless of background and regardless of religion. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, on to question number 2. In the year ended June 30th, 2025, about 60% of the general fund expenditures were spent on direct instruction. The amount reported was approximately $206 million. Do you think this is about the right percentage, too little, or too much? And Mr. Hinojosa first, please.
Thank you. So 60% for Alvin ISD is about $200 million. Now, the benchmark for instructional, and I know it was mentioned earlier, in the research that I did, even TEA, they have benchmarks of about 65% is the benchmark for instructional finances that should be going per student in each district. So that tells us that Alvin ISD is a little bit below that. Now, I'm not going to come out and say that 60% is not enough or it's just right. I'm an engineer by training. You see numbers every day, and as an engineer, you know you don't take a number for what it is. You have to ask the deeper questions of, instead of looking at the 60%, look at the 40%. Where is the other 40% going in our district? Is it going to infrastructure debt? Is it going to administrative salaries? Is it going to teacher salaries, which we advocate for each and every year? That's the number that we also need to look at. For me, that 60%, we need to understand is every single one of those dollars going to our students. As a parent who has a child in the district, I would expect that all of those instructional dollars are being used in the classroom. That is what's important. So for me, as a trustee, it's important that I look at the data, look at our finances, use my background in nonprofit management, and work with the superintendent to ensure that all of that money is being used directly in the classroom for the students each and every day.
Thank you. Ms. Burrell?
So physical responsibility happens to be one of my core strengths. So while I do believe that he is correct, we are a little low by 5% when it comes to Alvin ISD and the budget that we have that's in our school. So while 60% may seem high, my concern would be, again, what's happening to the other 40%. So I would need some data into research to find out exactly how this 60% is reaching our classroom. Not only is it reaching our classroom, but is it reaching all of the services, our special education services, our 504 services, our athletics, our counseling, our teacher support. Where is it going, and is it affecting our students' outcomes? So that would be one thing as a trustee that I would want to know. I would want to do some additional research to find out exactly how those funds are being allocated. Is it enough? And if we have that extra 40%, where can we look to use those so we can make sure we have better student outcomes? We want to continue to make sure that when a student graduates from Alvin ISD school, that they are fully prepared for life, whether they want to go to college, military, career. So we have those extra funds, use it for student outcomes. So that would be my position as a school board trustee, to make sure that every dollar allocated is going towards academic and student outcomes.
Thank you. Okay, now question 3. What is the most pressing challenge for the school district, and what will you do to address it? And Ms. Salazar first, please. I'm sorry. Fine. Sorry, Ms. Burrow.
No, you're fine. That's okay. So I will repeat the question. The question was, what is the most challenging, pressing? That's the one? Okay.
Challenge for the school district, and what will you do to address it?
Okay, great, absolutely. Right now, the most challenging thing for Alvin ISD is that we are growing rapidly. As a school board trustee, that's what I would see. We are growing. Alvin ISD covers over 252 square miles. We are a large district, serving over 30,000 students. That is a lot of students. So in order to maintain that, of course, managing growth while making sure we're maintaining high quality education is a concern for me. I would want to meet with taxpayers, community involvements, to make sure that when we build these infrastructures that we can support that, and that we are properly spending tax dollars money so that we are maintaining the same type of education that every other student is getting in every other campus, so when we grow that is still there. So the right support to maintain the growth, that's important to me as a school board. When we grow, we have to make sure the integrity is there, the academics is there, the quality of teachers that we have in ISD, we want to be able to keep those in Alvin ISD. So I want to keep the pace with our student population without sacrificing the quality of instruction. And as we continue to grow, which we will, because people, I have personally met families who want to bring their kids to Alvin ISD, and that is a good thing that they want to be here. So let's welcome them and make sure that when we do that, that we can support the growth and still maintain the quality of education that we're providing in Alvin, and that we still have good student outcomes.
Thank you, Ms. Burrow. Mr. Hinojosa?
Thank you. 2 things. It's the rapid growth that's happening in Alvin ISD and the teacher retention problem that we're seeing all across the state. I'll start with the second one first. In the state of Texas alone, the state has lost over 20,000 teachers in the last couple of years. Teachers that have left the profession left and right for multiple reasons. For me, teacher retention is really important because that is the direct thing that's going to tell us whether or not we're going to excel, and we're going to move Alvin ISD from a B-rated district to an A-rated district. Teachers and personnel, like we mentioned earlier, we have 4,000 teachers and staff in our district. How do we keep them here? But not just keeping them, but encourage them to want to finish out their careers in Alvin ISD. The market for education is constantly growing. We're seeing teachers move from district to district because an opportunity opens up in another district and they feel it's best for them to move. For me, it's really important that Alvin ISD does not become a stepping stone for a teacher. It becomes a place where they can build out their career for the rest of their lives. So I would want to see that, we offer healthcare, we offer the things that any other school district offers, but what is the true return on investment that an educator gets being at Alvin ISD? And that return on investment, teachers want to still grow, they want to be leaders, they want to be mentored, they don't want to come in as a first year educator, get thrown into a classroom and say, here's your keys, you have 120 kids to be responsible for, good luck. They want to make sure that they have structure in what they are doing so they can be successful. As a former teacher myself, one of the things that I saw, salary is great. Alvin ISD is competitive with salary, but I always wanted more. I wanted to know that there was structure and there was an ability for me to grow. So making sure that we have a strong return on investment for educators is vital for us and our continued success to see our district move from that B-rated district to an A-rated district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burrow. Thank you, Mr. Hinososa. We appreciate y'all coming tonight and participating in our forum. Thank you.
Staff, as you get on stage. Next up, we're going to have Alvin ISD Board of Trustees, and the current incumbent gives his apologies, but he's actually doing his job this evening. He is Alvin ISD current superintendent. He wanted me to know that superintendent is now retiring, and at the end of the school year. So the school board is right now currently going through the process of hiring a new superintendent, is what I was trying to say. This week, the board has been conducting first round of interviews Tuesday, Wednesday, and of course today. And for that reason, he is unable to attend, but he and Ms. Kyle have sent their remarks. So as that takes place, I will be the one to read their comments for their answers. Okay, so with that, we do have Ms. Morris here. If you'll come on stage, you got a pick of the mics. And Ross, you have anything to share? No, we're good. All right. So again, you know, it's a 2-minute thing. Get comfy, and we'll go from there. So first up would be Mr. Garza's comments, and it's question number 1. And Mr. Garza, the question is, do you support Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, JROTC programs, and will you support shooting sports and gun safety instruction in the school district? Go ahead and time me. I do support programs like JROTC because they provide students with leadership development, discipline, teamwork, and a strong sense of service. And we are fortunate that Alvin ISD already has a strong program. At Alvin High School, our Marine Corps, JROTC, is nationally recognized, including being named a Naval Honor School and ranking at the top of its region. That speaks to the quality of the program and the impact on its students. I also hear from community members who would like to see the program expanded to other high schools. While we have explored that, it is important to understand that JROTC programs are approved and administered by the U.S. military branches, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard, not the school districts, and requests for expansion have not been approved at this time. When it comes to shooting sports and gun safety instruction, I believe any program must be age-appropriate, voluntary, and conducted with strict safety standards and oversight. As a member, my role is to ensure any program we offer aligns with state and Texas Education Agency guidelines, and most importantly, keep students safely at the center. That is his responses, and no, we did not do a short bibliography from him, so we'll just continue to move on. So then, Ms. Talisa Kyle's response to this question. As a combat Army veteran, I strongly support JROTC programs. I have seen firsthand the value of leadership, discipline, and service, and programs like JROTC help instill those qualities in our students. Currently, Alvin High School hosts the district's only Marine Corps JROTC program, which focuses on leadership, citizen, and physical fitness, along with academic drill and community service opportunities. I would encourage the district to explore expanding access to similar programs across additional campuses so more students can benefit. Programs like JROTC also provide students with structure, mentorship, and a sense of purpose, things that positively impact both school culture and student outcomes. As a trustee, my role is to ensure Any program expansion aligns with district goals, state guidelines, and is implemented with appropriate oversight. And so now, Ms. Morris, it's your opportunity to answer that question.
Thank you. I am a believer. I believe that we should have junior ROTC in the schools. I feel it's a great opportunity for students who have an interest in pursuing a military career. It gives them an introduction to the discipline and the rigor that comes with serving. Shooting sports and gun safety, as it relates to that, I think it would require an immense amount of safeguards in the schools. You have to protect all the students who are on campus to ensure that only school-provided guns are on the campus, that we only have blanks that are there, and then to reduce expenses for the school campuses. I think it would be a great opportunity to partner with a shooting range in the area or any business that offers that, so that way you know that there are any safeguards in place for padded rooms, to make sure that blanks are only used, that you have instructors who are certified and will ensure that students are using the right methods to shoot their guns. So I definitely support junior ROTC and having shooting courses on campus, because so many students are interested in it. We're in Texas, we love our guns. I have guns. My family has a hunting background. So as long as we have safeguards in place and can make sure that no one is injured and that we don't have unauthorized guns on campus, I'm all for expanding the junior ROTC program.
And I apologize, we needed to have you do your minute to let us know about you.
I do live in Pearland, homeowner, taxpayer, also have property in Mayoral. One of the reasons that I decided to run for the school board is because I believe that we need to enforce a lot of the policies that are currently in place. Across the Alvin ISD, the district policy in regards to transfers is implemented differently across campuses and across the entire district. And so that's one of the things that I'm passionate about, because I've experienced so many people who want to choose what campus that their student goes to, and they don't have that option.
Thank you so much. So question number 2, we'll begin with your comments, and it is, what can the school district do to attract and retain teachers?
Alvin ISD is already committed to retaining teachers. They offer competitive salaries, and they're always gung-ho about making sure that salaries remain competitive. In this last legislative session, Alvin ISD had that on their agenda. We had the bond that passed in 2024, which made additional money available for that. There's professional development that's always offered for the staff, which is something that a lot of teachers look to have. If the district wanted to offer mental health services to faculty, I think that's another way to be able to bring staff in, because there are so many challenges now for the teacher in a classroom with so many different personalities, mental health challenges, personal challenges, social challenges. And so as long as teachers know that they have a support system in place and that they also have mental health services available to them, as well as professional development, training, other resources, then I think it's a great way for the staff to feel as though Alvin ISD is a district for them. In addition, Alvin ISD allows teachers to fill out a staff survey so they can continue to provide input on ways that they would like to see the district change. And as long as everything that's currently in place with Alvin ISD in terms of the policies, offering staff surveys, professional development, offering resources for the teachers, I think it's going to continue to make Alvin ISD a competitive district.
Very good, thank you so much. And so the incumbent Gabe Garza's comments are attracting and retaining great teachers is one of the most important things we can do, because nothing impacts students' outcome more than a high-quality teacher. Alvin ISD already has strong foundations. We offer competitive pay and a supportive family culture built on relationships. We also know the challenges are real: burnout, increasing demands, and staffing shortages. Moving forward, we have to stay connected to our campuses, listen to teachers, ensuring they feel supported and heard, and avoiding a one-size-fits-all approach. That means continue to invest in compensation, providing the tools, training, and support they need, and empowering campus leadership. As a board member and as a spouse of an educator, I understand how important it is that our teachers feel valued. And then Ms. Kyle's response for number 2 is attracting and retaining teachers starts with creating a district where educators feel supported, respected, and safe. The board's role is governance, approving competitive compensation, adopting policies that support positive working conditions, and holding the superintendents accountable for implementation. It is also important that campus leadership is empowered to hire based on the specific needs of their students, whether that's educators with experience supporting 504 plan students, bilingual learners, or other specialized populations. When leadership is trusted to make those decisions at the campus level and teachers feel supported in their roles, we create stronger schools and student outcomes follow. All right, and then for question number 3, let's start. All right, the question is from Ms. Kyle is, what is the role of technology and digital resources in education? And her answer is, technology should be a tool that enhances instruction, not replaces strong teaching. The board's role is to ensure responsible investment, data privacy, and equitable access across the district. That includes aligning technology use with instructional goals, ensuring cybersecurity protections, and evaluating effectiveness through outcomes. When implemented well, digital resources can support personalized learning, improve efficiency, and expand access, but they must be used with clear purpose and accountability. And now, Ms. Morris, for question number 3.
I believe that technology is necessary. We currently already have a lot of automation, not just in schools, but also in the real world on your job. AI has taken over, and it's going to continue to take over and make a lot of jobs obsolete. The students that are currently in Alvin ISD use a lot of technology. A lot of their assignments are online. They use Google Classroom. They use QR codes. They're constantly scanning, having to upload. They use so much technology. One thing I would implement is that a lot of this technology gets moved to the upper levels, especially at the high school level. And that's only because when you look at studies that are done with the National Institutes of Health, with UNESCO, with IBE, the International Bureau of Education, it has shown that technology can reduce some of the attention spans in students, and some of the students get cognitive overload when they have too much technology introduced too early. So although technology is a necessary evil in our society, it's also about learning to use it wisely, making sure that everyone understands how it can be useful, but also knowing when we have to limit its usage.
Thank you very much. And lastly, Mr. Garza, he has said, technology plays an important role in supporting and enhancing student learning, but it should never replace strong teaching, it should support it. When used well, digital resources can help personalize instruction, provide real-time feedback, and give students access to tools that prepare them for college and career. At the same time, we have to be thoughtful. That meaning setting clear expectations around responsible use, protecting student data, and ensuring technology strengthens critical thinking, not replacing it. Like any tool, it's about balance. The goal is to equip our teachers and students with the right resources while keeping the focus on high-quality instruction and meaningful learning. And thank you so much. I know that was a lot. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. And now we're going to welcome the candidates for the city of Pearland. So mayoral race. So if you'll come up.
All right, let me give you a little bit of background on the role of the mayor in the city of Pearland. The city of Pearland operates under a council-manager form of government based on the Home Rule Charter adopted by the voters in February of 1971. The city council is the legislative and governing body of the city. It consists of the mayor and 7 council members. The mayor and council members are elected at large for a 3-year term. The mayor has no term limitations. However, council members are limited to 2 full consecutive 3-year terms in office. Council appoints a city manager to recommend the budget, implement council priorities, appoint and supervise department heads, keep council and the community informed during the year, and manage all city operations on a day-to-day basis. The mayor votes in the event of a tie vote, represents the city in regional and state matters, engages with citizens to address concerns and needs, promotes economic development, and attracts new businesses.
Thank you so much. So we welcome our candidates. We have Tony Carbone and we have Quentin Wiltz here. And we thank you, Councilman, for being here. And we're going to start the first question with Tony Carbone. The question is number 1. What type of businesses or industries should Pearland target to strengthen the tax base and reduce reliance on residential property taxes?
All right, thank you. Thank you all for
wait,
having me.
I did it again. Your 1 minute. Get your 1 minute in first. Sorry.
You said to make it quick.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Tony Carbone, a lifelong resident of Pearland, happily married for all 23 years, happily married. CPA for 20 years. I've had the pleasure of serving on city council for the past 13 years. I'm endorsed by Pearland Police Officers Association, the Firefighter Association, every one of the councilmen I've served with, the majority of those I've served with in the past. Former state rep, good friend Ed Thompson, current state rep Jeff Berry, state senator Larry Taylor. I love Pearland, born here, raised here, probably going to die here. And I work here and I'm accessible. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Quentin?
Yes, my name is Quentin Wiltz. I've lived here for 20 years. I've raised my kids in Pearland ISD, Alvin ISD. I used to live in the neighborhood literally across the street at Twin Lakes. If you go outside, you see my name on the sign. It says adopted by Wiltz family. And what you know about me and my family is that we're committed to service. My oldest son is a junior at the United States Military Academy, committed to service. My youngest son graduates this year from Shadow Creek. He's about to be going to school to be a doctor, service. You may not see my name on any of these buildings here, but I've served on Parks Board for 7 years, Missouri County Alliance for Children for 2, Pearland Chamber Board of Directors. In all these positions, you've seen what I've done, from the Shadow Creek Ranch Sports Complex, baseball fields, hike and bike trails, even the awareness program, the pinwheels in front of the police station. I brought that here with Chief Doyle. There are things that I've done in this community over the last 20 years, and I'm asking for the opportunity. I've asked several times, and I'm asking again to be an honor to serve as your mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, now, Tony. Take it away, Tony.
All right, thank you. So the question, what business or industry should we attract into Pearland? And we should continue to target our high-value commercial developments. That's what strengthens our tax base, drives sales tax, and brings the high-quality jobs without overburdening our infrastructure. That includes healthcare, medical services. As most of you know, 77584 is the zip code that has one of the largest concentrations of medical center workers in the Houston region. So it's a natural extension of our workforce to bring down into the lower Kirby area that we've already seen that success. We should also focus on attracting corporate and regional headquarters that will continue to bring in high-paying jobs and increase the daytime population. That daytime activity is what will continue to support our local retail, restaurants, and small businesses, which in turn generates additional sales tax. In addition, We want to bring in the destination retail, dining, and hospitality that draws folks in from outside of Pearland, gets their sales tax dollars in here to help offset the burden that our residents feel. And at the same time, we've got to be intentional about what we don't pursue. Low value, high impact uses. We don't want a large distribution facility in the middle of town with heavy truck traffic straining our infrastructure. So at the end of the day, it's about being strategic, focusing on growth that pays for itself, supports our residents, and strengthens Pearland for the long term. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Wiltz, will you respond to the question?
Question one more time, please.
Okay, of course. So what type of businesses or industries should Pearland target to strengthen the tax base and reduce reliance on residential property taxes?
What we've seen in recent years is a consistent strain on our infrastructure. Businesses that come in without the proper roads and infrastructure built. We've got significant strain on our water. We've got significant impact on daytime activity. We talk about retail, strip centers, they pop up everywhere. I think people are a little bit frustrated at the planning and the types of businesses that are coming here. We cannot support retail businesses with restaurants. We don't have the daytime traffic. And so we've opted to bring in all these rooftops, and now we have the people that we need to support. The targeted businesses that I would bring in would be tech, has to be. AI is evolving, and it is the least strain on our infrastructure. We have a highly educated workforce in Pearland. That's something that a lot of people will bring. I worked in corporate for the last 10 to 15 years. I worked in oil and gas. I have relationships with regional partners. I have people that I know that I can personally reach out to, and as we heard it before, that is the role of the mayor to go out. I'm the only candidate that's had a corporate job for 20 years. I know what to do to go out to get these jobs, especially tech. That's going to provide the biggest and fastest return so that it can alleviate the pressure from our taxpayers from rooftops. I think we see the evolving changes in our economy, and we know everything is inflated. Cost for water, cost for food, cost for gas. And so the most immediate return that we can get on our investment is to reach out and really bring in businesses that, one, will provide the returns, and two, tap into the businesses that are already here. There's a lot of businesses here that we can use and utilize, and reaching out to those businesses that utilize the services and the business that are here will provide the greatest return for all our residents. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now, Quentin Wiltz, if you will now listen to question number 2 and answer this. How would you decrease water and or sewer rates while improving the standard of service?
Great question. As we all know, Pearland has some of the highest water bills and rates in the region. My background, we know that the water operates as called the enterprise fund. It operates as a business. My background for the last 20 years, I worked in corporate finance, I worked in oil and gas, managed projects. I went to Bauer School of Business, my executive MBA. This is a business. We need to operate it strategically like a business. At the same time, I know there's a lot of people in here who believe in capitalism. I do too. We share those values. I've asked repeatedly to represent this community. 13 years the other candidate served. We know the results. We have the highest water bills. And so to ask me to come in and solve this problem when you knew that over the last 13 years our infrastructure was bad, it needed replacing. That's like asking somebody to come in and buy a house and never change the pipes. Then we buy a dishwasher, a water heater, and a dryer. And then ask us, all the residents, to pay for it. So respectfully and humbly, as I ask you to serve as your mayor, there's 2 options. I can do it as a consultant, or you can give me the opportunity as your mayor to solve these problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Tony, your question is how would you decrease water and sewer rates while improving the standard of service?
All right. So, not a popular answer, but to be upfront and honest, we're not in a position to lower the overall water and sewer rates. I wish we could sit up here and say we're cutting everybody's bill in half, but we've got to be honest. The city, over the past handful of years, has made major investments to make sure that our water system is reliable and can keep up with growth. We've got the surface water treatment plant, we've got the JHEC expansion, we've now got Berry Rose. And these are the kinds of projects you have to do to keep the system working, but they come with a cost. What we can do is take a closer look at how rates are set and how efficiently we're running things. For example, we have a tiered rate system on our water and sewer usage, and we need to make sure that we're not putting too much pressure on the families who are just using the basic, even under the minimum tier. And so there may be some ways to look at relief for those lower usage levels by still balancing and keeping the system financially sound. We also have to look at what else is on that bill, like the trash service. That's bundled into that bill, the same bill that we all pay on a monthly basis, and make sure that we're delivering that in the most cost-efficient and effective way. And we'll keep working with the state to find better ways to fund these big projects. So when we talk about water and wastewater, we've got the Texas Water Development Board, where we've got debt on the books at 1% and 2% interest rates. And so while the rates may not go down right away, we can be smarter, more efficient, and more fair in how we manage them while continuing to provide the level of service in the water sewer that our residents deserve and expect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we're going to move again to question number 3. And Tony Carbone, we're going to start with you. In a council manager city like Pearland, how would you use the mayor's role to influence policy and ensure the city manager executes council priorities effectively?
All right. As Ross outlined earlier, council and the mayor are not in the day-to-day operations. Our primary employee is the city manager. And so the way I see the mayor's role is about leadership and making sure everyone's moving in the same direction. That starts with council. It doesn't mean that we all agree. In fact, we don't all agree most of the time. But the job of the mayor is to bring the people together, work through the differences, and make sure that we can come together as a cohesive team and give our employee clear direction. I've served on too many other boards and where your board there's too much infighting, there's not any cohesion, and meanwhile your executive is over here and folks are more worried about the infighting of political games than they are about directing what's right for that board or that organization. And so that's where experience matters. I've spent years working through the complex issues, building consensus, delivering results alongside the councils I've served with. And I'm proud, like I mentioned earlier, every council member I served with, not because we agree, but because of the respect, have endorsed me. And so for me, it's about the mayor sets the tone, keeps the discussions productive, respectful, building alignment, and making sure that we focus on the results, not the politics. Because when the council's aligned, the city manager and staff have clear direction, they can do their jobs effectively, and that's how we can deliver results for the citizens. And leadership in this role isn't about control, it's about trust, experience, and getting the results. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now Quentin Wiltz, will you respond to that question as well?
Sure. As Councilmember Carbone mentioned, the mayor is a decisive leader on the council. And I know I sit in a room full of patriots. In the formation of this nation, it was one of the toughest things that the leaders had to do. They deliberated in a room for 2 days, and I can guarantee you there were some serious discussions about the formation of this country. So alignment on council is not going to come without deliberation. If we want the most positive and profound outcome that this city needs, there has to be deliberation. In addition to that, the city manager is a manager and he works at the behest of the council. I've worked with CEOs, I've worked with executives, and they can be a very ego-driven bunch. They have their own perspectives, but they also have accountability, and that is what I hope to bring to council. It's about setting metrics and goals. My background is in mathematics, statistics. I have a professional certification in process improvement. All these things have to do with limits and understanding where accountability is and what we hope to deliver. The challenge with Pearland is over the last 13 years, we've seen where it's gotten us. Highest property taxes, highest water rates. We feel the burden that our leaders have put on us. We have to pay these bills, work 1 and 2 jobs just to do it. And so accountability is key. And in order to do that, you have to make sure that the city manager knows where his boundaries are and what the expectations are. And that's setting a scorecard and metrics. It's worked in private sector, and I'll bring that same type of professionalism and expectation to our city government. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And on to the next question. We have 4 questions for these gentlemen to answer to this evening. So here we go. Number 4. Pearland's property tax rate gets a lot of attention, but it is only one part of the city's revenue. Please explain the major sources of Pearland's general fund revenues and which one gives the city the most flexibility to manage growth without increasing the tax burden on homeowners. And it's your turn, Quentin.
So, that question, it seems very easily framed, but it's not. You can't have revenue without cost. That's how you manage. We have very limited resources. We have sales tax, we have property tax, we have franchise, we have all these different things. And the 2 largest proponents are property tax and sales, right? We know the tumultuous economy that we have. We do. There's inflation, there's challenges within the next 3 to 4, 5 years even in this surrounding war that we know that's going on. So the best thing that we can do fiscally is set conservative benchmarks for our sales tax, our sales revenue growth, and if we set those benchmarks conservatively, we know that property values are going to escalate at a decent rate. I think it's shown 5%, but we don't want those burdens. So the best way, flexibly, that we have as a city to manage our growth is setting clear expectations for sales tax. The other challenges that I mentioned is cost. Pearland has, Councilman Carbone continuously voted on expanding the amount of people that move here, which adds additional cost burdens. Those decisions come with cost factors. And so it's a little bit disingenuous to ask where can we tap into to manage without successfully managing the risks and burdens that have been put on us by the decisions that have been made and inadequate planning to get us to this point. Thank you.
All right, and Tony, again, the Pearland's property tax rate gets a lot of attention, but it is only one part of the city's revenue. Please explain the major sources of Pearland's general fund revenues and which one gives the city the most flexibility to manage growth without increasing the tax burden on homeowners.
All right, so Pearland has 2 main sources. We've got property taxes and sales tax. Property tax falls on the residents. Sales tax is where we've got the opportunity. And the property tax is the largest and the most stable, but it's the one that people and the citizens feel the most because it comes straight off of our homeowners and our businesses. And so, like I mentioned earlier, sales tax comes from people spending money at stores, restaurants, businesses. And the key is that's not all from Pearland residents. It includes people coming in from outside the city to shop and dine. And so because of that, the sales tax, to answer the question, is what gives us the most flexibility. The more we grow that side of the ledger, the less we have to rely on property taxes that our citizens or businesses are facing. And that's why economic development matters so much. When we bring in the right kinds of businesses, retail, restaurants, healthcare, offices, We're not just creating jobs, we're bringing in revenue from a broader group of people. We also have other tools outside the general fund, like our hot tax, franchise fee, economic development funds, that can help pay for certain projects. And so recently, council has done a really good job pursuing the projects where we can leverage hot tax funds, franchise funds, the EDC, so that we can better the quality of life for citizens and residents here in Pearland without it coming straight off the back of the property tax side. We also lean very heavily on grant funding to get other big projects done. And at the end of the day, the big picture is very simple. Grow the sales tax, bring in the outside funding whenever we can, and use every tool wisely so that we can support the growing city and protect our homeowners. We want to bring more dollars into Pearland so we don't have to keep leaning on the residents of Pearland.
Thank you so much. Just die on me. I think I'm live again. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Let's give them a round of applause. They've done an excellent job for us this evening. Not easy. Okay, next up, we're going to call up the candidates for City Council, Pearland City Council Position 3. That would be Ms. Cheveria and McLean. Thank you, ladies. To the far side is Tashala McLean, and we have Mona Cheveria, the current incumbent for position 3. And before we get started, Ross is going to explain the position and what's required of it.
Well, I will be brief on this one. Council members provide community leadership, develop policies to guide the city in delivering services and achieving community goals, encourage citizen awareness and involvement, and approve the city's budget. Council members are elected at large for a 3-year term.
Thank you so much. So your first question, oh wait, before we do the questions, all right. It's because everybody's getting how much longer. Okay, so Mona, would you tell us a little bit about yourself? You got a minute, go.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mona Cheveria. I am seeking re-election for City Council position number 3. My husband and I moved to Pearland about 30 years ago. We have 2 sons that graduated from Pearland ISD. I have a background in accounting, fiscal management, government funded accounting. I also own a local business here for over 20 years, so glad to live here, work here, and contribute to the economy. I've also had the privilege to serve on many boards over the years. I am the past treasurer and chairwoman of the Pearland Chamber of Commerce, past chairwoman of the Pearland Economic Development Corporation, and currently serve on different roles as treasurer, currently Foundation, Pearland IC Foundation, and Pearland Lady Lions. As your councilwoman, I will work on fiscal management, addressing aging infrastructure, and public safety. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now for Tashala McLean, if you'll tell us a little bit about yourself. We have a minute to go. I believe it's on for you. Go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, thank you guys for having us here tonight. I am Tashala McLean, and I'm running for City Council, position 3. I've been living in Pearland for 20 years. I have 3 children, I can't speak, it's so late, that all graduated from Pearland High School. I am a graduate of J. Frank Dobie High School, University of Houston with a political science degree, University of Houston Clear Lake with an educational management or educational leadership degree. I'm a principal at a middle school. I've been a servant leader for the past 20 years in education. My career has been built on integrity, built on collaboration, built on community, and built on service. And that is what I intend to do as your city council member in Pearland.
Thank you so much. And now we're going to go to their first question of the evening. And we will start with Mona Cheveria. Number 1, do you commit to supporting the no new revenue rate or a lower rate during your first term in office and finding ways to reduce spending and be more efficient?
Thank you. Absolutely. Actually, City Council has asked staff to present us with a no new revenue rate this year, so they are working on that currently. As far as reducing expenditures, I currently serve on the audit committee with Tony Carbone, and we look at, we are auditing every department right now. We are looking at the expenditures, we're looking at internal controls, and we are finding effective ways to reduce expenses. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now on to Ms. McLean. Again, do you commit to supporting the no new revenue rate or a lower rate during the first term in office and finding ways to reduce spending and be more efficient?
Absolutely. I think this one is a no-brainer. I support the no new revenue rate or lower because I believe we have a responsibility to be good stewards of our taxpayers' dollars. I think everyone has spoken about the inflation that we're enduring, and so as a city council member, we want to make sure that our city members are being able to stretch their dollar. We don't want to impose anything for our city members to be more stretched than they already are. So I absolutely would commit to supporting no new revenue rate or lower rate during my first term.
Thank you so much. And now we're going to move to question number 2. And Ms. McLean, we will start with you. Question is, the tax revenues from the Shadow Creek Ranch Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone, also called TERS, is expiring in a few years. Many Pearlanders are not aware these funds can be put back into the taxpayers' pockets and save them annually approximately 10 cents for every $100 of property valuation. What are your plans for the use of the tax revenues coming back to the city of Pearland?
As the Shadow Creek Ranch TRRZ expires, my priority is to ensure that the returning tax revenues are reinvested strategically and transparently to benefit the entire city. First, I believe these funds should be directed toward core city services that residents rely on daily: public safety, street maintenance, drainage, and infrastructure upgrades. As our area grows and ages, we must be proactive in repairing roads, improving intersections, and addressing long-standing drainage and flooding concerns. Secondly, I would advocate for using a portion of the returning revenue to strengthen quality of life investments. This includes parks, trails, and recreational facilities, as well as maintenance of existing amenities in established neighborhoods like Shadow Creek Ranch. We should continue to honor the investment residents have made already in their community. Third, fiscal responsibility will guide every decision. I support dedicating part of the recovered revenue to long-term financial stability, such as reserve funds to help the city weather economic downturns without placing additional burden on taxpayers. Finally, I'm committed to community input and transparency as it relates to these funds. Residents deserve a clear understanding of how these dollars are allocated and the opportunity to weigh in on priorities. I will support public discussions and clear reporting so taxpayers can see a direct return on their investment. Lastly, I know I said finally, one of the things that we should look at is how can we offset using some of this money on water costs. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now, Mona Chevaria, if you'll respond to this question.
Thank you. So we actually have started the discussion regarding the TERS funding, and this will impact our budget 2030. And it will be approximately 10 cents. However, it will depend upon that tax roll of that evaluation of 2029. I do believe that what we need to do is give the tax relief to our citizens, but I also think that we need to balance that and invest in infrastructure and roads. As you all know, the east side needs to invest in roads. The west side at some point will also need infrastructure needs. I'll have infrastructure needs. So I think we need to, number one, give some tax relief to our citizens, and two, make sure that we balance infrastructure and needs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we're going to move on to question number 3. And we will start with Mona Chevaria. What is the biggest mistake the current leadership of Pearland has made in the past few years, and what would you have done differently?
Thank you. So I do not like to focus on mistakes but challenges and how can we improve. So in 2022, there was a shortfall in our taxes. There was a overestimation of our property value tax from the Missouri County that actually was miscalculated through the Harris County. And so the city council had to redirect some reserve funds. They utilized ARPA funds and they delayed purchases for that year. I do think what they did is what I do agree on is they implemented a strategy where they have a third party outsource certify the tax roll. The tax roll is very, very complicated. So I think that helps with some safeguards, but I also believe that council and mayor made a very clear decision in change of leadership. Over the past year and a half, we have been restructuring the finance department, and although we are not responsible for that finance director's employment, we have the guidelines that we can set forth of the expectations of the city manager and to make sure that he is meeting performance metrics. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and haven't they done a great job for being here so late? God bless you all, and thank you. And then now Ms. McLean. Oh, I apologize. Yes, Ms. McLean, you're next.
Okay, I think one of the biggest challenges hasn't necessarily been a single decision, but how decisions are communicated and how early residents are brought into the process, especially during a time of rapid growth. Too often, people feel like they're hearing about decisions after the fact, and that creates frustration and erodes trust. Residents don't like surprises, particularly when it comes to issues that affect their neighborhoods, taxes, or quality of life. What I would do differently is focus on earlier and more meaningful engagement with the community. That means clearly explaining why behind decisions, laying out options, and giving residents a real opportunity to provide input before things are finalized. Just as important, we need to close the loop, show people how their feedback influenced the outcome. I also think one of the decisions that was a mistake was the decision of voting against the additional dwelling for the family in Green Tea, who was wanting to put an additional dwelling for the use of their mother in the yard. So I think that was a mistake as well, because as a community, we want to make sure that our citizens are able to take care of their families. That's what we do as a community. And so I would say just the communication that we have as a city, but also the decisions that we're making to impact families in their homes as well.
Wow, thank you so much. Appreciate you all. God bless you all. Thank you so much for your answers. Sit down carefully. And now we're on to the city of Manville. Thank you for being so patient this evening. I know it's a lot of material, and thank God I didn't ask them 5 questions. So much to cover. All right, Ross is going to explain their position for City Council, position 5 in Manville.
The mighty city of Manville operates as well under a council-manager form of government. Policy-making and legislative authority are vested in a governing body consisting of the mayor and 6 council members. Council passes ordinances, adopts the budget, appoints committees, and hires the city manager, city attorney, and municipal judge. The city manager is responsible for carrying out the policies and ordinances of council and overseeing the day-to-day operations of the city. Council members are elected at large to serve a 3-year term. The race for place 5 is for an open seat on city council.
Thank you so much, Ross. Appreciate you. All right, for the first question, gentlemen, we're going to look at number 1, which is what type of businesses or industries should Manville target to strengthen the tax base and reduce reliance on residential property taxes?
I'm Jason Albert.
Oh,
You're welcome.
Go for it.
I'm
Good evening. Thank you for you guys sticking around. My name is Jason Albert. I live in Mayoral. I served 6 years in this position on City Council in the past. I also served on the Mayoral Economic Development Corporation, where I was president for several years. I got my master's in business administration, and my bachelor's degree is in human resources management. I spent 38 years in emergency medical services, the last 10 of which on the executive command staff.
Great, thank you again for putting me in line. All right, and Mr. Thompson, if you'll give it your 1 minute.
Making sure everybody's awake. My name is Justin Thompson, also known as JT, growing up in the area, born and raised in Mayoral, Texas. Been here for a long time. I used to swim in Almost Heaven. Every Friday night you catch me at A's Country Ballroom, cutting up the dance floor. I know a lot of people in here probably don't know what the emotions are, and it breaks my heart. The golden years. I got 2 small kids, awesome, lovely wife here in the back. I actually met my wife at orientation at U of H many years ago. And U of H is actually where I got my engineering degree. Spent 17 years in oil and gas, everything from project engineering to sales manager, sales director, and everything in between. A few years back, I got the opportunity to purchase my father's construction company from him, so was able to retire him out. So we've been in Mayoral since '87, and I don't come from a political background. I'm not a politician. I come from the citizen civilian side like you guys. I know what it's like to interact with the city. I know the struggles, and I hope to plan since my kids are being raised here now.
Thank you so much. All right, now we're going to get on to the questions. So we will start with Mr. Albert. What type of businesses or industries should Manville target to strengthen the tax base and reduce reliance on residential property tax?
Thank you. So I think that the city has been very focused on the commercial development. By commercial, I mean the retail and restaurant development, as well as development of homes. But what we really missed out on is focusing on the commercial development, the light industrial development, and the business development like Mr. Wilkes and Mr. Carbone discussed. Dr. Schluffler hit the nail on the head where the property taxes best impact our budgets and lower the property taxes for the regular residents are the inventory that are in the warehouses or for those kinds of businesses. So I think that's where we need to focus our economic development as well in order to reduce taxes there.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Thompson?
Yes, so I think we can all agree that we found the ceiling at which property taxes have hit, and it should never go past that. It is as everyone's said previously, the clear growth potential is going to be in that commercial ad valorem area and sales tax. I think that Manville's still kind of a blank canvas, especially up and down Highway 6, that we can really invest and grow that heavy commercial, light industrial sales tax revenue. What I would like to see is high value partners come into the city. I would like to see job generators come into the city. And coming from that corporate world, I understand what companies are looking for. I understand their needs quite well. So I think we should be courting those companies. I don't think strip centers and restaurants are gonna fill the void. I'm a foodie, trust me. I want to see some good restaurants in Manville, but I don't think that's going to be a long-term goal for ours. So I think we should have an open mind when it comes to what type of companies we talk to. I mean, we could talk to GE about frame set generators coming in and have power contribution to the grid. We could talk to multi-story, a hospital coming out. There's so much potential, and I don't think we should narrow our thoughts on what that should be, but we should have a curriculum and criteria that's high value job generators. What does it give for the citizens, and what does it do for the city?
All right, thank you so much. And now we're going to start with you again, Mr. Thompson, with question number 2. Manville's property tax rate gets a lot of attention, but it is only one part of the city's revenue. Please explain the major sources of Manville's general fund revenues and which one gives the city the most flexibility to manage growth without increasing the tax burden on homeowners.
So again, much like the previous question, roughly 30% of our budgets comes from property taxes. I think the Texas legislature has kind of signaled that in the not so distant future, we could see a reform or alteration to how sales tax is collected in Texas, which would be great, right, obviously, for property owners, but that would be, huge hits to the city budget. So I think Manville needs to take the opportunity now what we can to really develop and bolster that commercial area, sales tax and ad valorem commercial sales tax revenue. We have a pretty big bucket right now for licensing and permits. That's great, but that's only during our growth phase. That won't be there forever, so we can't depend on that. And of course, regular residential property taxes have nowhere to go. So really commercial and I think courting appropriate commercial partners for the next 5-10 years is gonna reflect how Manville looks for the next 50 years. So I think that's going to be paramount.
Thank you, and Mr. Albert, if you'll respond.
So I think some of the areas that we really have opportunities to maximize the revenues that we bring in, and let me preface, we've all heard what the buckets are, we've heard 4 times already, so I'm just going to skip ahead. So where I think that we have an opportunity, a very unique opportunity in Manville, is on the 160 acres that the city owns. I think we have great opportunity to bring hospitality conference center, as well as I understand that we're working on plans now for a public-private partnership that would include an amphitheater and other things to make Manville the destination city rather than Pearland. And then we can capitalize on getting the sales tax revenue from those areas. And then again, going back to my first question, I think doing the targeted economic development recruitment for those businesses that bring the more stable, more protected property tax revenue from the hostile legislators in Austin against our local level property tax levies, then we can get some relief to the regular Joe homeowner in the city.
Thank you so much. And now on to the final question for you all. It will be from question number 5. So if you'll refer to your notes. What are current deficiencies in the opportunities for everyday citizens to interface with city government? How would you make this as easy as possible? And we will start with Mr.
I think the biggest challenge is the amount of time that council's already spending in meetings and doing the side work that they're doing, but they don't have the time to go out and spend with their constituents. And so I would think that there needs to be a better way to streamline meetings so that they're more efficient. Just like this meeting's going along at 9 o'clock, it's not uncommon for a city council meeting to go to 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and who's going to sit there for 5 hours and go through, and then you don't have time to sit and talk to your council person. So I think finding a way to streamline the meetings and being able to be more available is key to being able to be more available to constituency.
Thank you so much, and now on to you, Mr. Thompson.
Last question of the night.
Last question.
So, as a local business owner, I've gone to the permitting office, I've talked to the permitting trying to get questions answered, I've talked to code enforcement, I know what it's like from your perspective to try to get something done for the city. Don't get me wrong, I've had nothing but pleasant exchanges with those folks. The city workers are great, but I have talked to a lot of the big businesses in Manville, and the response is usually all the same. They avoid city council, they avoid city services like the plague. They don't want it to deal with the city if they don't have to, and I don't think that's a advantageous, healthy relationship with our commercial contributors to the city with the city services and city members. So I've heard lots of stories from these forums in the past, and I heard one that comes to mind. It was a lady that she lived on a double wide on her piece of property. She went to the city to try to tear down the double wide and build a house. City said she couldn't do it for whatever reason. She said, okay, fine, I'll tear down the old double wide and put in a single wide. And again, the city said you can't for whatever reason. I mean, it's my opinion, the city does not co-own your property with you. They're not a giant HOA. I think that the city, we have a variance board, in place. We have avenues for trying to obtain, different usages for those situations. But that variance board, for example, I try to find out who's on that board. Those are city council elected officials, and they meet infrequently and non-consistently. And so I would love to see citizen elected, officials to that variance board, people be able to use property how they see fit, that still falls within, regional and national expectations of the property, especially if it's adding value to the property of the city. I think there's a lot of ways. Again, I think it's one of my strengths. I'm not a polished politician that comes from lots of leanings on this. I think I bring new ideas and new outlook on potential ways to be more transparent as a citizen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys, everybody, for being so patient this evening. We really appreciate it. I apologize for taking an extra hour, but very important races that are taking place in our city. Be thankful that I didn't ask more questions, because let me tell you, my PARC community had a ton of questions.